Alrighty, to start off the Stormblood quest line for alchemy, we have the quest Not Quite Dead Yet, given to us by Severian, the Guildmaster, in Ul'dah. Here we go, level 60. That damnable Guildkeeper, Guildkeeper, what the hell's that? How many times must I tell him not to bother me with these trifling affairs? As if I, a veritable titan of the trade, had nothing better to do with my time. Turns to me. Well, look here. If it isn't my very finest assistant in all things alchemical. Your timing is as impeccable as ever. It just so happens I have a bothersome little chore what needs. That is, I have the most important of tasks that can be entrusted only to you. Yep, that's how it works with them. Our guild received a summons to action from Ul'dah's own brass blades. Sorry, I got burps. They ask that we come to conduct an autopsy beyond the city walls and claim the subject is a most curious corpse. Surely it is no more than the miserable husk of some impoverished pleb or some glorious gangrenous rot. Even so, our simpleton guild keeper took on the task, and so now I must investigate. There is a brass blade stationed before Eralig's burial chamber. Who knows more? Go to him. Go to him. Luna. Luna. Okay, so the Thaumaturge Guild. Yeah, take a nap on your pillow, girl. Yo. Okay, here's the brass blade in question. Be you the one sent by the Alchemist Guild? You talk weird. Listen, then, and that good. Well, I don't like it. Listen, then, and that good. The corpse you're to examine lies within Eralig's burial chamber. Follow me. Like he was asking me to listen good, but in a weird way. I don't think I've ever been allowed to come in here before. Or wait, are these always open? I don't know. Inside the chamber are 3 coffins, caskets, whatever. And then there are recesses in the wall where I would have thought the coffins would be, but I don't know. What's down here? Oh, that's the actual, okay, never mind. Here's the brass blade to continue. This here's what we called on the alchemist for. There's a coffin for you and a body within it. We need to know for good and all whether it's dead or not. Okay. You may think it queer we need help for such a thing, but mark my word, one look in that coffin and you'll think it no more. We click on the unsoiled coffin to interact. A ghost just came in the door. The door opened. Oh, it was probably me. Cutscene, interacting with the coffin. Black screen so far. We do have a body inside, female, human. A young lady lies in the coffin, void of both breath and pulse. Though she appears dead, you sense she could spring forth at any moment. She does look incredibly just sleeping. Her hands are across her, like underneath her breast, like just across her stomach, folded. Her hair is on like kind of the pale edge of gold, like a blonde, but not like pale, you know. She's got a blue dress on. What say you? She looks dead, don't she? She's no pulse, not breathing neither. But you feel it, don't you? Feels like her eyes might pop right open, like she might up and walk, and you can see her there dead and cold, but you feel it all the same. Damn strange. You talk weird, dude. And this is strange, too. A proper burial in Ul'dah costs no small amount of coin. Most small folk cast their corpses out in the waste beyond the walls. Fodder for beasts, they be. But this lass weren't thrown out to rot. Would that she had. We'd think her no more than some starved beggar, dead of an empty belly. But there's stranger things yet. I think that's kind of what they're going for with the way they wrote his dialogue. She's dressed common enough, but look at the skin. Pale as a peach and just as pretty. Them nails are cut and colored too. She's no plain folk. No, she lived a life of some luxury, this one. And look there, the wound. I don't see a wound to the head at all. And look there, the wound to the head. Makes you think murder, don't it? And then there's the strangest thing of all. If she's been dead long enough to be buried, and it's hot as hell, and it's hot as all hell's out here in Thanlin, why hasn't our little lass started to rot? I give a ponder to this information. Ha! Looks like you're just as baffled as we are. Do this, then. Go back and talk to that Severian. If he's got any wisdom to give, bring it back to me. Severian, give me your knowledge. Hey, quit playing with your katana. You're fine, don't worry about it. You can play with your katana all you want. Just do it in private, you know? Here is Severian to continue, to finish the quest. How did you fare? Was there anything of interest or import in the deed asked of us? I explain what happened. No decomposition and an intangible sense of lingering life. Well, I dare say I assumed a request from the brass blades would prove equal parts tiresome and trivial, but I confess my interest is quite piqued. So be it. I shall go and examine these remains myself. In the interim, you may do with yourself whatever you see fit to pass the time. But might I suggest you spend some hours at your alchemical studies? 'Tis a long and winding road to the greatness of Severian. 1,337,500 experience points, a sorta sad 713 guild, 250 water crystals, and 3 more commercial engineering manuals. Which I've used 1 or 2 since starting these. I currently have 34. We just hit level 67 alchemy off of that quest. As I have been doing since these first level 60 quests are kind of short, except for Goldsmith, that was like a full 15 plus minutes. We're going to do the level 63 quest now. The Forbidden Blade. So level 63, given to us by Severian. Here we go. The Forbidden Blade. There you are, my dutiful pupil. I have been to the burial ground and examined that coffin of which you spoke. And yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you. A most strange phenomenon indeed is being visited upon the remains of that young lady. He thinks about it a little bit. There are the marks of blunt trauma about her skull. There are not the slightest signs of decomposition. There is a complete absence of the onset of rigor mortis. There is much and more that baffles science here. But what interests me most of all were the signs that indicate she was the subject of a most fell and forbidden practice. I take a half step back in shock. It would be both premature and fallacious to proclaim this woman still among the living, but I would concede with some degree of confidence that she was the target of an attempted resurrection. Never would I have thought others so inclined as myself. Never would I have thought others so inclined as myself to toy with the taboo. I think that was a better tone to say it in. Yes, now I recall. I once heard a tale of a great thaumaturge of the Order of Naldal who was rumored to have dabbled in magic sinister and sable, magic that sought to undo the natural law. I wonder, could those rumors allude to this same attempted resurrection we are seeing? Hear me now, my ever-capable assistant. You must travel to the Thaumaturge's Guild, and there speak with a priest by the name of Yayaroku. Have it from his mouth and his alone whatever truth there may be to these rumors. I have the most sneaking of suspicions they may be inextricably linked to our curious corpse. Have I talked to Yayaroku before? He was kind of talking, the way he was talking made me think of Shentoto, who we had some dealings with in the Thaumaturge and Black Mage questline specifically, not really Thaumaturge. But back to the Thaumaturge's Guild, teleport, whatever here's Yayaroku, a Lalafell, white robes. Let's go. Hello there. Have you come to offer prayers to Naldal, or perhaps you wish to give alms to our order? I tell him why I'm here. A great thaumaturge once in our ranks, one who dabbled in the taboo, you say? It's like all of them. And by taboo, I gather you are referring to the art of resurrection, are you not? I'm afraid it is just as you say. Those arts are taboo. They are forbidden to be practiced by the hands of mere man. But yes, now that you mention this, I do recall one such thaumaturge. Oh, he was with us some time ago and was obsessed with discovering the very origins of life. His zeal was unmatched and drove him to explore those darkest arts when the answers he sought could not be found elsewhere. But for the life of me, I cannot remember his name. You must forgive me. My memory is not what it once was. Perhaps some alchemical potion or potable would serve to clear the cobwebs from my aging mind. I must warn you, however, I have no palate for bitter things, but fear not. I wager Severian of the Alchemist Guild would know best how to mix an intellectuary. That's not, I don't think that's a word. Makes an intellectuary agreeable with a sweet-toothed Lalafell such as myself. Oh, mix an intellectuary agreeable with a sweet-toothed Lalafell. That makes way more sense. Like, what's an intellectuary agreeable? An intellectuary agreeable with a sweet tooth. Yeah. Cadence, you know. I feel like there should have been a comma, you know. Maybe. Commas, I like using commas, and I like when commas are used to denote like slight pauses in a sentence. And it, you know, there are other times when a comma is absolutely necessary to say what you mean to say the correct way. Like, there's one about like we went to our grandma's house, or I don't know, something like we ate her, but like I don't remember how that sentence goes. Anyway, here's Severian to continue. Come then, speak. What insights did Yayoroku have to share? I let him know. He asked for medicine in exchange for his knowledge. Very well, then he will have exactly what he desires. We will concoct for our little friend an intellectuary so sweet he can count himself lucky if he is ever able to taste bitterness again. Surely a sweetened intellectuary will prove no difficult task for one of your alchemical abilities. You need only add a healthy dose of an electuary, such as birch syrup, to the normal components. I dare say the sweetness will be enough to rot the teeth from his very mouth. He hands me ingredients. So yeah, as I've said in a couple of these quests so far, you're going to be handed the ingredients. There's no farming necessary for all of these quests from 60 to 70. It's pretty nice. Your task is before you. Mix the intellectuary, take it to Yayoroku, and have from him whatever information he has to give. And see to it you do not become forgetful before you report your findings to me. So we have the materials. Just open your thingy. You click on this once. It brings you to special recipes. Click on class, intellectuary, and we have the electuary ingredients. Level 63 craft. I've already done 66, so like this is nothing. We will start with a muscle memory, just to give us 351 progress. I got a proc, so I'm going to use precise touch. I'm going to go back into, into our innovation rotation. We might be able to cap on this one. Yeah, we can cap with a Bayergots. And then the buff just went away. We need 49 plus 100 plus 11. So 160, which means our careful synth will get us there. Alright. Barrel hop. Do 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 do. Pump it, jam, pump it up. I'm sticking with you, boom boom. I'm made out of glue. Roku. Sorry, I'm done. I am truly sorry to trouble you with such a childish request. I pray a sweetened intellectuary is within your means to produce. Hand over the HQ intellectuary, which it did need to be HQ'd, just FYI. He takes it. Is this the intellectuary you prepared? Made to order just for me? I am most grateful. He tosses it in the air instead of drinking it, because that's how you take things in this game. Delicious. You certainly have succeeded in erasing any note of bitterness. Well done. Yes, yes, yes. I feel the cobwebs clearing already. He looks shocked at his knowledge returning. Forgive me. I spoke a lie when I said I could not recall the name of the thaumaturge you asked of. I simply wanted nothing more than to try an intellectuary, and thought the opportunity too ripe to not pick. Oh. I kind of sigh with my shoulders. And now, out of guilt, I will tell you all that I know. The man of whom you speak is none other than our former guildmaster, Mumuepo. Marry you, Epedo. Mumuepo. Before the calamity, he poured himself into studies of life's origins, and his appetite for knowledge was voracious and insatiable. I have heard rumors myself that he came to be in possession of an enchanted item called Heart Strike. One word, Heart Strike. A blade fabled to house the power to bring the dead back to life. I know not if Mumuepo ever dared use the blade to attempt a resurrection, but I can tell you that he was stripped of his titles and privileges for countless crimes. Under normal circumstances, we would not consent to such a blatant overreach, but the Sultana was adamant, and the evidence was damning. But back to the blade. Around the same time he was said to have obtained Heartstrike, he purchased for himself interment and funeral rites. Oh, internment. Wait. Is that a typo? Because I know internment. This is I, Nancy, Tom, E-R, Mary. E, Nancy, Tom. Interment. Instead of internment. Interesting. And funeral rites at Araleg's burial chamber. To this day, there are those in these halls who whisper that perhaps the coffin he purchased contains the remains of some poor soul who found themselves the victim of his perverse experimentations with death and life. Of course, I myself believe no such thing, but if you have cause for concern, I suggest you visit Araleg's burial chamber. You will need to speak with Eadgitha, E-A-Delta-G-Y, Tom H-A, Eadgitha maybe, before you are permitted to examine the remains interred there under Mumuepo's care. Okay. So go back into that little burial chamber thingy. Back to life. Knife puts you back to life. Blade puts you back to... Here's Eadgitha. An old human female. You wish to examine the coffin in the charge of Mumuepo, and do you have his consent to do so? I shake my head no. Then I am afraid I cannot permit it. Only the holder of the burial rites and relatives of the deceased are given leave to disturb these coffins. If you have not the blessings of either, then be gone from this place. Okay. Back to Severian with somewhat disappointing news. Severian for the turn-in. Well, if it isn't my intrepid aide, pray tell, what were you able to learn from Yayoroku? I explain. I see. So it is looking ever more likely that the taboo practiced by Mumuepo is indeed that of resurrecting the dead. And now we know of this foul instrument as well, this heart strike. I confess, when I myself first looked into the magic of life and death some years ago, I heard tales of an enchanted blade by that name. But by the gods, never would I have thought it to truly exist. It can be no mere coincidence that Mumuepo purchased again, not a typo, I guess, interment rights. Is that a word? It can't be, right? Where's my thingy here? Wait, what? How about internment? Oh, wow. Okay, so internment, like internment camps. Gotcha. So interment is correct. Huh. I'm dumb. Cool, it's fine. Coincidence, no element, these are... Hold on. It can be no mere coincidence that Mumuepo purchased interment rights. Under the same moon he discovered the blade, and now have very little doubt he meant to use Heartstrike to resurrect whomever he buried there. After all, you must have the dead before you can bring back the dead. He thinks on this bit. This may very well mean the corpse Mumuepo put to rest in Araleg's burial chamber is the victim of an attempted resurrection. We cannot but investigate this further. Yet I know the protocols of that hallowed place. The keeper of the burial rites and family alone are allowed to pry open those coffins. Very well, I will request a meeting with Mumuepo. I mean to ask everything there is to know about this Heartstrike, and will prostrate myself if I must to acquire this leave his leave to further examine the sarcophagus in his charge. I take a half step back. You seemed shocked. Does it surprise you to see me take the initiative in such matters? I beg you, do not misinterpret the situation at hand. I am acting out of my own interest in this, and mine alone. I have no intention to permit you to have all the fun. I'm off then. Why not let your curiosity get the better of you while you're here? The guild has made many promising discoveries of late. There is still much for you to learn within these halls. Halls? Walls? I don't remember what I said. 1,557,875 experience points. 838 gil, sad. 250 water crystals, sorry. High steel mortar, which I have already made the HQ version of. So, yeah. Quality assurance means we get a higher likelihood of good and excellent, I call them procs, but conditions. I've already made HQ level 61 gear that is better than or equal to all this NQ 63 gear, so I take the gil. And that is alchemy 60 and 63. We just said 68. What I've been doing, so when I leveled up Culinarian, I put basic touch, standard touch, advanced touch all in a row together. I have got so used to my 5 button being waste not 2 that I'm afraid to do anything to move things. I don't want to, like, it's just so convenient because my fingers are normally just on 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can do. I don't really do alt and control buttons when it comes to crafting because sometimes they fail. If you have like this little internet like hiccup, you can fail. Like it'll press 1 instead of control 1 or alt 1, and I don't want that to happen. So anything that's not CVX 1, 2, 3, 4, like anything that's not these things, I just click on it because I don't trust it. But I keep this here because the number of times that you're actually going to be able to use it so far has been kind of low. I'm going to use all of these way more frequently and keeping them in the positions I'm used to. I think it's just better. Can I get on here and disturb his work? You cannot jump on Severian's table. That's interesting. Not that interesting, but anyway. I'm going to go over here. Severian and I... Oops. Thank you for watching. I'm going to be cool about it. He's going to be his own version of cool about it, but hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Hold on. Bye-bye for now.